Today on Fluent Football, I'm going to explain to you why you do not want to speak English like a native speaker. I am also going to show you a couple of the things you need to know to write a scout report in English. And finally, we are going to have a look at why the Scottish captain, Andy Robertson, is so obsessed with sex.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
All of that today on Fluent Football. If you are a coach, an analyst, or anyone working in the world of football and you think that your English might be a problem for your career, then don't forget that you can download my free ebook, Speak Fluent Football. It goes over the 3 keys you need to improve your English so that you can work in an English-speaking environment. Click the link in the description below to get it today. Writing a scout report in English can be a little confusing if you're not a native speaker. So today we are going to have a look at a couple of the things you need to know and a couple of words and phrases that will be very useful for you if you need to write a scout report in English. We will start with some basics. Information you probably want to include would be something like the age, the nationality, and the current club of the player. Be careful and take note. We say current club to discuss the team they play with now. We do not say actual club. This is a very common mistake. It's the same thing when you say what you are doing now. For example, actually, I am a scout with Chelsea. Currently, I am a scout with Chelsea. You also might want to include some physical information about the player, like their height. This gets a little confusing because in Europe they use the metric system. So they would say a player is 186 centimeters tall. But in America and sometimes in England, you might see something like this. This is because they measure height in feet and inches, not centimeters. 1 inch is about 2.5 centimeters. 1 foot is 12 inches, so 1 foot is about 30 centimeters, but it's not exact or precise. 186 centimeters is around 6 feet and 1 inch. If you see this, you can read it as this player is 6 foot 1 inch, this player is 6 foot 1, or even just this player is 6'1". It's often important to include which foot this player likes to use the most. Are they better with their left foot or are they better with their right foot? We call this their preferred foot. Finally, it can be important to include some business information for the club. Things they might need to know, such as the contract expiration date. This would be the date or the time when their current contract with their current club will finish or will expire. The club will also like to know how much money they need for this player. You can give them an estimated market value. The market value is how much this team will need to pay the other team to buy the player. It's how much the player will cost if the contract is not expired. And you can include what the player's estimated wages are. So the wages are how much you will pay the player or how much the club will pay the player directly. That's a lot of the basic information you probably want to include about the player. Now let's have a look at what you can say about the player's abilities, the positives and the negatives. We will start by having a look at some positive phrases. This player is well-rounded and shows an excellent work rate. He is an outstanding ball carrier and very creative in his passing. He is also a real goal threat. Well-rounded. A player who is well-rounded is good at all areas of the game. They are good at attacking, they are good at defending, they are good at dribbling, they are good at passing. Someone who is well-rounded is good at all these things. Usually it means they're not great at these things though. Excellent work rate. Your work rate is how hard you work, how determined you are, how focused you are. If you have an excellent work rate, it means you work very, very hard. Very good thing for a footballer. An outstanding ball carrier. Someone who carries the ball means they will dribble the ball forward towards the opponent's goal. So if you have an outstanding ball carrier, you have someone who's willing to dribble the ball from the defensive third into the midfield, from the midfield into the final third. They are willing to progress the ball by themselves. Very creative in their passing. Someone who is creative in their passing means they can make passes that other players might not even think to make. Consider someone like Luka Modric. He makes lots of passes that a lot of players, not only will they not try to make these passes, they won't even think to make these passes. A goal threat. Someone who is a threat is a danger. They are dangerous to someone. So a player who is a goal threat is a danger to the other team. This means they can score a lot of goals. They have the ball in the box. They are capable of scoring goals. So great top strikers are goal threats. Now let's have a look at a couple of negative phrases that you could use to speak about a player. This player lacks composure in difficult situations and often gets caught in possession. He is not very adaptable to different playing styles and is inexperienced. He can score some great goals, but he is very inconsistent. Lacks composure. We've talked about lack before. If you lack something, it means you do not have something or you do not have a lot of something. A player who lacks speed is not very fast. Composure is how calm you are in difficult situations. If you have the ball and there are 3 or 4 defenders around you and you get scared and you lose the ball, you lack composure. You do not have a lot of composure. Get caught in possession. If you get caught in possession, it means you have the ball, you are in possession, but the other team gets to you. Maybe they tackle you or maybe they put you into a difficult situation. You get caught in possession. Not adaptable. Someone who is not adaptable is unable to play in different ways. They can only play in one specific style. Not very good in modern football. Inexperienced is just the opposite of experienced. If you have not played a lot of matches or you have not played many matches at high levels, we would probably call a player inexperienced. Inconsistent. So the example we have, this player can score some great goals, they score some amazing goals, but they are inconsistent. So maybe one match they score 3 great goals, amazing, hat-trick, fantastic, but they don't score goals for the next 3, 4, 5 matches. So you don't know what to expect. Today, will they be an amazing player or will they not really perform very well? Alright guys, I hope that was useful. I hope it helps you writing any scout reports in the future. If it does, please hit like, and if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button. I'm curious to hear from you, so leave a comment below and tell me who is a player you think is well-rounded, and give me a negative one. Who is a player you think is inconsistent? I look forward to reading your ideas. Need help improving your communication in English? My English courses are made for coaches, analysts, and others working in football. They are online, you can work from home, and you will improve your English in 10 weeks or less. Want to learn more? Send me a message and I will give you some free advice. Right, I posted a picture online recently. It was a silly picture making fun of the way Scottish people speak. This is it. You can see it here. Very funny, isn't it? Hilarious, hilarious. Well, it turns out that in fact, I received some feedback from coaches in Scotland, foreign coaches who work in Scotland, and they agreed. When Scottish people speak, they have no idea what they are saying. When a Scottish person speaks to them, gives some sort of instruction on the pitch, they have no idea what the Scottish person is saying. And there's a very good reason for that. It's because Scottish people can't actually speak English.
This place is more accessible, particularly for some of our colleagues who have a disability.
Here, here.
Could you please repeat the question, because I didn't follow it?
I'm saying that a number of parliamentary colleagues who have disabilities do find it quite difficult getting around certain parts of the state. Given that we're doing this refurbishment work, what can be done to make sure that those with a disability are able to move around more freely and the place is accessible?
I'm really sorry. Please, could you do it very slowly in an intimidating English?
No, I am kidding. Of course, Scottish people speak English. I actually think the Scottish accent is very attractive.
That's brilliant. It's wonderful.
But it is difficult to understand. That is true. Even for me, sometimes the Scottish accent is difficult. So to help you with that, we are going to take a look at an interview with the Scottish captain, Andy Robertson, and have a look at what he says, some of the phrases he uses, and the way he speaks. Just to give you a little bit of context, this is an interview from just after Scotland defeated Spain 2-0 in a Euro qualifying match. Roll the clip.
Congratulations. How much did you enjoy that one?
Yeah, loved it. We knew we had to try and get off to a good start. We knew we had to try and put them under pressure, get the fans with us, and I think we've done a really good job of that. When you score so early doors, you kind of fall back a wee bit and we started defending a wee bit too deep at the end of the first half, and we just had to try and push ourselves up and try and get in their half, and I thought second half was a really professional performance, and it shows you how far we've came.
It absolutely does, and we were just talking about that, just how much you as players believed you could go and get that result tonight, and that must have been key to that performance.
Yeah, well look, the gaffer's been quite consistent in the squads that he's picked and things like that, and you can see that with the number of caps we've got now. When he first took over, there wasn't too much experience within us, and now we've got a lot of lads on high 30s, early 40s and things like that, and that makes a huge difference when it comes to these games. You have to dip into your experience, and I thought we had a lot of experience on the pitch, and then we make subs like Cooper and McLean that come on and just kill the game, and yeah, it was a top performance from us.
To start with, let's just look at some of the vocabulary that he uses. First one there, a wee bit.
Kind of fall back a wee bit and started defending a wee bit too deep.
A wee bit just means a little bit. It's very Scottish. Scottish people say this all the time. Wee just means little. For example, you could say, when I was a wee boy, when I was a little boy, I loved playing football at school. All right? It just means little. If you go to Scotland, you'll hear it all the time. The gaffer.
The gaffer's been quite consistent.
The gaffer is a common slang word, very common in Scotland, but also used in England. It just means the boss, the person at the top. In football, it gets used to speak about the head coach or the manager. So Erik ten Hag is the gaffer of Manchester United. Pep Guardiola is the gaffer of City. And at Chelsea, nobody knows who the gaffer is because it changes every 20 minutes. Caps.
And you can see that with the number of caps we've got now.
If you play for an international team in any sport, not just football, in any sport, you get a cap. If you play one game, you get a cap. If you play 2 games, you get 2 caps. If you play 3 games, etc. Every game you play, you get a cap. This is very common, the way we speak everywhere in the English-speaking world. If you represent your country in a sport, one time, you get a cap. All right, let's keep going.
There was a belief in the camp that we could get a result here, and we knew it would put us in a good position, but it's important we all don't get carried away. We've got 6 points, which is a great start, but unfortunately 6 points doesn't qualify you for the Euros. It puts us in a good place. We've got 2 massive games in June, and then if we come out with that, with the points that we think we need, then it'll put us in an even better position. It's only a 5-man group. It's only 8 games. It's a kind of more of a sprint, and yeah, we've put ourselves in a great place, but we have to keep going. We have to put in the same determination, the same desire we showed tonight, and if we do that, it gives us a hell of a chance to win any game.
Get carried away.
It's important we all don't get carried away.
When you get carried away, you get very excited, but you get very excited too early. It's too early to be excited. So in a good example recently, earlier this year, Arsenal fans got carried away. They were very excited. They thought, this is the year We will win the Premier League 2023. It's our time. And looks like they got carried away too early. They were too excited too early. Now, the real problem most people have when they listen to Scottish people speak is the pronunciation with the Scottish accent. The way Scottish people say certain words and certain sounds. A good example is the way they pronounce the U in words like put or push. Have a listen to Andy Robertson say these words and just try to listen to how it's different. So I would say put or push. Listen to how Andy Robertson says them.
And we just had to try and push ourselves up, and we knew we had to try and put them under pressure.
Put them under pressure. Put them under pressure. You say, I can't do it. Sorry to Scottish people if you watch this. But it's a little bit like he says the P and the T, and there's nothing in the middle. Put them under pressure. So it's very fast. It goes very quick. Put them under pressure. Put them under pressure. Sorry, terrible Scottish accent. I won't do it again. Another one that is very common in Scotland is they tend to change the sound of the I in words like win or words like pitch. They change it so it sounds more like an E. Have a listen to these words. I've got a few examples.
The squads that he's picked and things like that. We had a lot of experience on the pitch, and then we make subs like Cooper and McLean that come on and just kill the game, and we've got 6 points. The 6 points, it gives us a hell of a chance to win any game.
So again, you see the I turns into an E. When he says pitch, it sounds a bit more like pitch. Okay, pick sounds a bit more like peck. Kill, kel, win, when, and 6. Sorry, very immature. So these are two pronunciation, not problems, but pronunciation issues, means problems. Two things about Scottish pronunciation that you probably need to know to help you understand them when they speak. Finally, let's have a look at something that everybody loves, grammar. I often tell my students that grammar is really not that important when it comes to communication, especially not in the world of football. If you're a lawyer or you are a journalist where accurate language is very important, then maybe it's a little more important. You know, you maybe need to have a strong grammar foundation. But in the world of football, it's a little less important. The communication's very different. The communication is all about being clear, effective, and confident. It's not necessarily about being perfectly accurate. And Andy Robertson agrees with me. So have a listen to this.
Get the fans with us, and I think we've done a really good job of that. I thought second half was a really professional performance, and it shows you how far we've came.
Now Robertson makes two mistakes here, two grammar mistakes here. First of all, he says we done. It should be we did. And then he also says we've came. It should be we've come. I'm not bringing this up to point at Andy's English and haha, you have terrible English. That's not my point at all. My point is, people get very concerned with their grammar when they learn English. They get very focused. Oh, I have terrible grammar. My grammar is no good. Oh, I make grammar mistakes. But look, Andy Robertson is a native English speaker or a native Scottish speaker. Sorry, Andy. He doesn't have perfect grammar when he speaks. He does not speak with the kind of grammar that a lot of students want to speak with. And a lot of people in Scotland would probably say the same thing. It's a feature of Scottish English. So I really just brought that up to make a bit of a point and ask you a little bit of a question. Or I want you to ask yourself a question. If Andy Robertson, a native English speaker, does not need perfect grammar, then do you need perfect grammar? But I am interested to hear your thoughts, so comment below and let me know, how important do you think perfect grammar is? Or how important do you think grammar is generally? Please comment below and let me know. Would you like to speak English just like a native? Would you like to have fluent English just like someone from England? Or just like someone from America or Scotland or Canada or New Zealand or Australia? Would you like to speak English just like that? If you said yes, You are wrong. No, you do not want to speak English like a native. We just listened to an interview with Andy Robertson, the Scottish captain. Now, you all listened to the interview. You listened to Andy Robertson speaking in that interview, and you didn't understand a word that he said. Now, maybe you think you understood because you had the subtitles, you read the subtitles, you said, oh, okay, I can read this, I can hear this, okay, I understand. Go back and listen to that video without the subtitles. Go back and listen to it. I leave the link in the description, so you can click on the link, you can find the original video, there are no subtitles. Go back and listen to it. You won't understand a word that he says. I know you won't understand him because I typed out those subtitles. And I did not understand Andy when he was speaking. Usually when I make subtitles for a video, I play the video into the microphone and the computer creates the subtitles for me. The computer just does it. I don't have to sit. No, I have better things to do. But the computer didn't understand Andy. The computer had no idea what Andy was saying. The computer couldn't understand a word. Usually, I have to change the subtitles a little. Okay, there's one mistake here, one mistake there. No big deal. With Andy, I had to change everything. The computer did not understand him. I've been speaking English for 34 years. I've been teaching English for 12 years. And I could not understand Andy with ease. I had to listen to some parts of it 4, 5, 6 times. Great, so we agree, you don't understand Andy Robertson, the computer doesn't understand Andy Robertson, and I just barely understand Andy Robertson. Let's go 20 years into the future. In the future, Andy Robertson is no longer a player for Scotland or for Liverpool. He's now a coach. He's decided to go into coaching. He's a manager. Okay? He starts off managing a Scottish team. No problem, right? He's in Scotland. He speaks Scottish English. No problem. But one day, he gets a job offer somewhere in Europe, somewhere on the continent. Let's say he goes to Germany. Let's say he gets the job offer to be the manager for Dortmund. A team like that. Just as an example. You pick the team. I really don't care. But somewhere different in the world. Now, Andy goes to the first training session. He goes in, he's got all these players, okay, and he starts giving his instructions. He tells them what he wants them to do. He goes through some warm-up drills. He goes through some phase of play drills. He's explaining a mini game that he wants them to do. He's got a special rondo. He loves a rondo. He's got this rondo, but it's a little complicated. The players, they pass, they run. Okay, he's got some interesting ideas. He starts giving the instructions to the players. What happens? What happens to the players? What do the players do? The players do nothing. They do nothing. Why not? Because they don't understand a word that Andy Robertson says. Of course they don't. He's speaking with his beautiful, sexy Scottish accent. But the players are not Scottish. The players are not native English speakers. They are from Germany. They are from Spain. They are from Italy. They are from Asia. They are from Africa. They're from South America. English is not their first language. Andy's running away with that sexy Scottish accent. And the players, they understand nothing. So my question to you, if you want to work in top tier football, in an international environment, you've got players, you've got technical staff, you've got backroom staff, you've got managers, directors, everybody is from all 4 corners of the globe. Why would you want to speak like a native English speaker? These people will not understand you when you speak. I mean, obviously it's international. The native English speakers, you will have a couple. The native English speakers, they will understand you. So, fantastic. Fantastic. You're working, you're playing. You've got two players. You've got the Australian player and the American player. They understand you. Fantastic. The two worst players on the team understand you. Great. Good job. No, you don't want to speak like a native English speaker. So what do you want to do? You want to be an effective communicator in English. This means two things. First of all, it means that you understand people when they speak. So you need to improve your listening skills so that when a native English speaker and Andy Robertson starts blah, 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 in English, you will understand them. However, you don't want to speak the same way. When you are in an international environment with all those players from all over the world, most of them, the vast majority of them, they will have some level of English. They will understand at least basic English. You need to communicate in a way that they will understand. If you spend months, years perfecting your English, getting that perfect British accent, learning all those fancy phrases to sound just like a native, and then you walk out onto that pitch, start giving your instructions, the players will not understand you. Do not aim to speak English like a native. Learn to be an effective communicator in English. Thanks for watching another episode of Fluent Football. If it was useful, please hit the like button, and if you have not already, hit the subscribe button. I am curious to hear from you, so please comment below. Scots are not the only ones with difficult accents to understand. What accents do you think are difficult? Americans, Irish, Australians? I'd love to hear. Comment below and let me know.